Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, maybe a snack or two, and let's get into it. So what we're going to be discussing right now is something called food wars, okay? And we are heading towards a path. We're heading towards a path of food wars amid protectionist policies and rising inflation and food supply and security are becoming increasing concerns around the world. Think about it for just a moment. Geopolitical tensions and other factors will spur conflicts over access to dwindling food supplies. We have fought many wars over oil. We will fight bigger wars over food and water. Okay. Food prices began to climb during the pandemic and then surged again when the Russia-Ukraine conflict kicked off. And then the situation is expected to get worse and worse and worse. There has also been a recent trend of governments imposing trade barriers as they try to protect domestic food stocks. Now, this is making food inflation worse, setting off even bigger food security concerns. And there has also been more than 1,200 non-tariff food barriers that were put into place in 2022 in response to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, creating what is termed to be an exaggerated demand supply imbalance. Governments engaging in this kind of behavior deserve much of the blame too. One protectionist policy that I would like to single out is Indonesia's 2022 ban on palm oil exports, which was aimed at protecting the local market. Similarly, India put an export restriction in place last year on some of the varieties of rice, if you remember that. So, in addition, with wealthier nations building up surpluses of certain strategic commodities, the demand and the prices for these commodities are growing accordingly. All right. And there are other signs that food and water shortages could be around the corner. For example, a recent report that examined environmental risks to the economy of India found that rising water shortages could have a huge effect on their farm and industry sectors. And the accompanying rise in food inflation and dropping income levels could lead to social unrest. So these shortages, they are stemming from the country's quick economic growth, industrialization, and urbanization. A heat wave this month added further pressure to water supplies while pushing prices of staples like potatoes, onions, and tomatoes to go up. So, the impact of food inflation in the US in recent years shows just how much food $100 will buy any of us at the supermarket after 5 years of inflation. Okay. The same groceries that cost us $100 in 2019 is now about $137. While this would equate an extra $147 a month for a shopper buying the list used in the example on a weekly basis. Like if you have a specific list, okay, that's what I'm talking about. And you go by this list every single week, okay, or every single month. That's what I'm talking about. You know, you're going to see the gradual increase, okay? But most American families have a far bigger grocery bill every single month, and they're grappling with a more dramatic increase. Like, okay, when the entire family lived at home, okay, and remember, oh my gosh, this wasn't just too long ago when all 8 of us were living in this tiny little house that I have, okay? And it was me, and it was Sean, and it was my niece Cariana, and my nephew Dominic, and then it was Andrew and Jesse, and my grandchildren Mia and Giovanni. Okay, this is before the baby was born. This is before Gavin came in and stuff like that. Okay, I mean my grocery bill was about $1,500 a month, and that's for 8 people. Okay, and so now obviously it has shifted down dramatically, but a lot of you guys know that my nephew Gavin has celiacs, so everything that he eats has to be gluten-free. Well, one loaf of gluten-free bread is $6. Okay. So, and Sean and I, you know, we don't eat his gluten-free food, obviously. We set up his own pantry, he has his own freezer and stuff like that. Okay. And Sean and I, we have our preps and stuff like that, and we're setting up a pantry of gluten-free for Gavin and stuff like that. But still in all, when it comes to food shopping for me and Sean, we spend about $300 a month just for me and Sean. Okay. Now, Gavin spends about $300 a month just alone on him. But take into consideration his food is gluten-free, so it's triple the amount than what we would spend just alone on normal food, on regular food for us. Okay. So, there's a lot of factors that have to be included with everyone's family. Everyone is different, So, when you take into consideration rising geopolitical tensions, protectionist policies, weather events, growing inflation, it's all setting the stage right on for a significant food crisis, okay, that will lead to more civil unrest, okay. So what you have now, okay, in your pantries, okay, because you guys know I have an extensive pantry, okay, but then again, I've been prepping for 4 years now. And I know that you guys have been prepping for probably a hell of a lot longer than I have. For those of us that have friends and family members that think that we're the crazy ones, when shite hits the fan, they're going to be, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And we're going to sit there and go, I told you so. I mean, we're going to have an even bigger problem for the world's food supply and global food security when shite hits the fan and people are running rampant and going crazy. And we're sitting here going, well, I got my coffee. I got my SNICK snack. I ate 3 meals a day. I'm good. And everybody else is running around like zombies because they're starving, going brains. Okay. I mean, seriously, please think about this, because this is no freaking joke. Okay. We are going to be heading into food wars here. All right. And I want you guys to really think about this. All right. So, yeah, okay, we could sit here, we can hide our preps all we want and stuff like that. Okay. But when push comes to shove and you're home by yourself, like I am, all the time, except for when Gavin's home or whatever, or the kids come home or whatever. Are you going to be able to, regardless of how many pew-pews you've got, okay, are you going to be able to ward them off just to save your food supply? Does your house get locked up like Fort Knox, like mine does? These are the things that I'm talking about, okay? I mean, prepping is more than just stockpiling your food here, guys, okay? There's so many different factors and sectors that come along with everything that we do when it comes to our minds, and it's nuts. It really truly is. But anyway, all right, listen, I'm out of here. Okay. Gavin just got home. I got things to do. I will see you guys in the next one. Okay. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less.